Mighty companions, this is Earl Purdy, and I want to welcome you to A Course in Miracles here on Facebook Live. And we're going to be talking about the development of trust. The development of trust. We're going to be talking about the development of trust in yourself, the development of trust in the divine, and the development of trust in all these people and beings that surround us, that sometimes it seems like it's a little bit more challenging to trust. Not that any of you have ever had any trust issues whatsoever. So you can look at me like I'm saying the strangest thing that's ever been said. Those of you online, we're going to talk about trust, but the Course in Miracles says about trust. And we're going to start out with one of my favorite songs that's a lesson from A Course in Miracles, which is, I am not a victim of the world I see. I am not a victim of the world I see. That's A Course in Miracles workbook lesson. I am not a victim of the world I see. You are not a victim of the world you see. So this is A Course in Miracles workbook lesson set to music by a good friend of mine named John Christmas. And John Christmas, you can get this music at johnchristmas.com free of charge. And it's from the Course in Miracles. So here we go. Gives us time for all of you online to come in, come together, and get kind of centered right now. It's great to know that you're out there and in here too. Remember, I'm sincere, but I'm not going to be serious. Okay? So if y'all want to be serious, it's okay, but I'm not going to be serious. Please. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Okay, Purdy, remember. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. Did you hear that? I'm not a victim of my mom. I'm not a victim of my fault. I'm not a victim of events and circumstance at all. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I done to me. But that includes the good stuff. I'm not a victim of the future, not a victim of the past, not a victim of anything that really doesn't last. I'm not a victim, say what, of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I done to me. Oh yeah. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. Mighty companions, this is Earl Purdy. I want to welcome you to Facebook Live. A Course in Miracles, A Course in Miracles, and that ain't no jive. I want you to open your mind instead of kicking your behind. It's time for you to open your mind instead of always kicking your own behind. You are the most powerful being in the universe. That's true. I'm not a victim of the North. I'm not a victim of the South. Not a victim of anything except what comes out my mouth. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I done to me. And that includes the good stuff. Help me out now. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, of the world I see. Now you want to breathe, take deep breaths. You're not a victim. You are not a victim. You are not a victim. Guess what else? You are entitled to miracles. You are entitled to miracles. You are entitled to miracles. about you, whether you believe it or not. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I done to me. Oh yeah. Woo! Oh God, wake me up. Wake me up, Lord. Put that good old great music and love in my experience and in your experience. That's what we want. I ask you. These are the only guidelines to my class. These are the only things you need to remember. If you remember this, you won't have a problem. If you forget this, you might have a problem. These are the guidelines. They come straight from the Course in Miracles. This is how the Course in Miracles says you're supposed to hear the Course in Miracles. Remember only this. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Say what? You need not even welcome the ideas. What else? Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas from A Course in Miracles you may resist. Some of the ideas from A Course in Miracles you may resist. Some of the ideas from A Course in Miracles you will find quite startling. There's some things I might share with you today that you find hard to believe and that startles you. You may hear something today that makes you feel like you're confused and it upsets you because it's different from what you already believe. But you want to be able to achieve. How can you move in the direction of love unless you learn how to listen to the voice from above? How are you going to find your peace if you won't find your release? So you have to tell yourself, some of the things that I hear might be hard to believe and some of the things I hear may startle me. That's what you need to say. Guess what? You are not asked to judge the ideas at all. Nobody's asking you to judge them at all. I'm not asking you to judge me or nothing that I'm saying. And the Course says you're not being asked to analyze the ideas. Analyze, I like to call it.
Analyze.
A-N-A-L, anal.
That hurt my anal.
And then the last part is lies. Anal, lies. Get it? So you're not going to know what something is by breaking it down. If you chop me up in you chop my body up in little bitty pieces. If you chop my body up in little bitty pieces, that won't tell you how it look. So breaking stuff down, the Course says, and analyze it, this destroys the meaning of A Course in Miracles. It might help you with other things, but the Course says it's just going to make it harder for you to understand. So you can analyze if you want to. That's okay. So how do you know of anything that the Course in Miracles is saying? How do you know anything that Earl is saying through A Course in Miracles is true? How do you know if any of these ideas are true? Well, do you know that the way you recognize these ideas are true is to use them? So I'm going to say this 2 or 3 times. Let it in. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas, the use will give the ideas, their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. The Course says we learn through repetition. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Say, their use will give the ideas meaning to me and will show me that the ideas are true. Say to yourself silently, those who want to. Would you say to yourself, their use will give the ideas meaning to me and will show me that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas meaning to me and will show me that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas meaning to me and will show me that the ideas are true. If you repeat that, you'll one day accept that. I'm riding down the street in my convertible. You know what I'm saying? Doing the gangster lean. Some of y'all might be too young to remember that. When you sit back and you like riding in the car. You are going to learn about the development of trust before you develop too much rust. You need to learn about the development of trust before you become too much rust. Okay? So we're going to be on the development of trust. It's going to be on page 9 in the manual for teachers, in A Course in Miracles. It's going to be in the blue book, development of trust. My number one priority as a teacher is to, after working with the course over 40 years, is to give practical application of the ideas. I'm not here to do a lot of abstract philosophical discussion or debate. I don't do any of those things in my classes because I'm here for people who want to hear another way of looking at things, and they have some areas of their life they want more peace in, and they're not trying to defend their ego by having to be right even when they're wrong. So the Course in Miracles says, and I teach in a question answer format. The Course in Miracles says, if you want to develop trust, the first thing that you're going to go through is a period of undoing. So when you say you want to develop trust and you don't love someone you don't trust, did you know you don't love someone you don't trust? Trust and love are the same. Trust and love are the same. Don't tell me you don't trust me and you love me. People that rattle off, I love you in 2 seconds. But if you say to them, are you saying you absolutely 100% trust this person? Then all of a sudden they go, ooh, wait a minute now. I love my boyfriend. I don't know if I trust him. And so the Course is like saying, sorry, love and trust are the same thing. So you have to develop it. So when you say you're going to develop it, it says, do you know what you're going to go through a period of undoing? It doesn't have to be painful for you to undo your old way of looking at things. He says it doesn't have to be painful, but what does it say? It usually is so experienced. The change doesn't have to be painful. Letting go of the stuff that hurts you doesn't have to be painful, but usually for most people, a lot of people, that's what they experience. The undoing is painful because it looks like things are being taken away from you. It's going to look like some things are being taken away from you. So the mind goes, well, what is it that's going to be taken away from me? My old way of looking at things that's not giving me peace. What is going to have to be taken away from me? My grievance. You got to let go of that grievance against your daddy now. You can't hang on to that. So you're going to have to undo some things. Now, most people say, when they hear things being taken away, they tend to think of their material or physical possessions. But the Course in Miracles is saying you need to have some thoughts taken away. You need a thought napping. It's much easier to replace a thought with another thought in my perception than it is to try to change a thought, even though it's the exact same thing. If I say you need to change your thought about your mother, that can sometimes go, ooh, that might be difficult, right, as an example. But if I say you need to replace the thoughts you have about your mother, I need to replace those thoughts. Well, that's, replacing, substituting, I can do that. That's what the Course says we do with relationships. We just substitute. Give everybody the same script. Just choose different theaters, right? Choose the same movie, go to different theaters. But I'm still showing you my movie. So if I get in a relationship with anybody, I'm going to project my qualities, my past, my learning, my patterns onto them. And I'll have a script for them. And if they don't do it right, I get rid of them. And then I go find somebody else and I give them the same script. But if you keep giving everybody around you the same script, you're going to keep on seeing the same play. It's just going to be acted out through different characters. I have never had but a relationship with one woman in my entire life. Do you know that? My whole life. People say I can't do commitment. She just keeps changing bodies. She just keeps changing bodies. It's like repotting a plant. You know, and she evolves as I evolve. Some of the present bodies can handle where I'm at in the past, you know, but then they went as far as they could go with me. And then at that point, then she took another person's body. And if I'm saying the real good time, she take a lot of different people's bodies. At the same time, but that's the advanced class. I'm gonna have those on my contact list. You're gonna get the uncensored Raj, which I'm never able to do in a class like this.
Someday.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I have to do course. That's why I course uncensored. When I'm just talking exactly like I want to talk, without censoring myself at any level. Now people go, well, you could do that right now. Sure, I could do that right now, but right now, this is the time and place for me to do it. Because if it was, I'd be doing it. That's all I need to know. I feel more peace doing it like this. So the Course says, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The first thing that's going to happen is you're going to go through an undoing. It doesn't have to be painful, but you'll probably experience it that way because it's looking like things are being taken away from you. But what really happens when something leaves you is their lack of value is being recognized. What? When there are some things that you no longer value and those things will leave you. Whatever you don't value and appreciate will eventually leave. And that includes people. You keep being in relationships with people and you don't let them know that you value them and appreciate them and you criticize them and you judge them. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The relationship won't last. You never tell the person, I appreciate you. You're beautiful to me. I love you. You just ignore them. In relationships, don't worry, it won't last. So when it seems like things are being taken away, the Course says what's really happening is that you're understanding that it has no value if it has no love. It has no value if it has no peace. It has no value. If we don't bring each other peace in our life, we have no value. If we're not bringing each other love and if we're not bringing each other peace. But that's what I want you in my life for. Well, I got this credit card, I need somebody to pay. It's really, the Course in Miracles says the world will end in laughter. So how will you know when you finally beginning to see things correctly? You'll laugh more. Right. I know who's practicing the truth by how joyful we are. So the Course says, how can you perceive the lack of value unless the perceiver is in a position where they got to see things in a different light? So right now, you are being put in a position that you have to see things in a different way. So that situation that you're dealing with right now, you're being put in a position that you must see it in a different light. You must see it in a different truth. You know the situation I'm talking about, the one that you were thinking about and the one that you're thinking about right now. Well, the first thing that's going to happen is you got to undo the thoughts that's causing you any kind of pain around that. So it looks like those thoughts are going to be taken away. But they're not really being taken away. You're finally beginning to see the lack of value of negative thoughts. You're finally beginning to see the lack of value of worry and concern and upset and grievances and jealousy all the time. So you are being put in a position where you can see things in a different light because you're not yet at the point that you can make the shift internally. The Course is saying that most people are not at the point that you can just tell them to do something differently and they shift on the inside immediately and do it. You know, that most people are not at the point where as soon as you tell them a radically different point of view from the way they've been thinking, that they're just going to instantly internalize that and then do it. You know, this Course is telling us we were not born in sin, we were born in innocence. And when you believe you're born in sin or born in guilt, you're going to manifest a perception and a life and an experience that witnesses back to you violence, pain, attack, guilt, lack, sickness, insecurity, and fears comes from the belief that you're not eternally innocent, that is your core. That's what you are. So any thoughts that a person has to the contrary, those are the thoughts that must be undone. Those are the thoughts. Because remember, the Course is saying it's only working with our perception, because it's only our perception that's determining how we feel. Do you know that many people think the way that they feel is being caused by other people? Have you ever said to somebody, "You make me mad"? That's saying they are creating how you feel. Okay, think about how many times a day people say that. "You upset me. This makes me mad. I watched the TV and I got upset." Well, the Course in Miracles is telling us that we're the one that's giving everything we see all the meaning that it has for us. So however you're feeling right now is coming from what you're telling yourself. How you're feeling right now is coming from what you're telling yourself right now. How you are feeling right now is coming from what you are telling yourself right now. Do you know that how you are feeling right now is coming from what you are thinking right now? Do you know that how you are feeling about that is coming from what you are thinking about that? Do you know that everything that you are experiencing right now is coming from you? It's coming from your interpretation. So you can't blame one single person on the face of the earth for anything that you are feeling. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas, okay? Some of the ideas I might actively resist. Yes, I'll say it again. There is nothing that you're feeling about anything that's coming from anybody else. Because what? There is nobody else.
Woo!
There is only one, divided up into what appears to be many, pretending that they don't know that. You're the best actors. Every one of y'all deserve Oscars, including me. We're the best actors that have ever been created. We are acting out a role so well, we don't even remember we were the ones that decided to act it out. You decided when you would be born. You decided who you were going to be born to. You decided your race. You decided your gender. You decided all of the things about what you were going to enter into before you were born. And then part of the plan was you to forget you ever did it. So if someone told you that you created it, you would say they were crazy, because you were told part of the plan was that you would forget the decisions that you've made. The Course in Miracles says, do you know that you have made a decision to forget that you made certain decisions? And like the decision to be sick, or the decision to have a lot of lonely, crappy relationships, or the decision to be on a job that you don't like, or the decision to be asleep as a spiritual being. Those are all the decisions. And then the Course says, well, the reason why you made the decision to get sick or unhappy, and then you chose to forget you made the decision so that it could look like something was happening to you. Because in order for it to look like somebody's doing something to you, you have to forget you're the one that's causing it. Or it would be you. It's easy to blame my daddy for the fact that I could never seem to be successful because he dropped me on my head when I was 2. That may indeed have happened, and you need another way to look at that. But what's making you unhappy right now is not the fact the Course says that you were dropped on your head at 2. Is you're using right now to interpret right now based on thinking about that memory. You're interpreting your present in past terms. Just because you had a hard time in relationships in the past doesn't mean you're going to have a hard time in relationships in the future unless you interpret right now in terms of all the bum relationships you had in the past. So you're thinking about all the bum relationships are the ones that didn't work out right now in the present, and then you're projecting it in the future, in the present, and then you experience it again. Thank you very much. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So whenever you're in pain, it means that at some level you're calling for love and you're calling for healing, and you've forgotten that you are totally a powerful being that's creating everything that is you experiencing. So the Course says that, well, when you tell people this, Earl, a lot of them are going to go to sleep. And they're going to zone out. And you're going to lose them for a while, right? But guess what? That's okay. Because it takes a while to want to get out of your suffering enough to listen to the way to get out. Especially if you've already made up your own mind about what the answer is. Mm-hmm. So when someone gives you an answer different from the one you made up, the Course says, well, you're first you feel a little attacked if somebody doesn't believe what you believe. It says first thing you do is a person feels attacked when you don't share their belief. And so then it can become very easily about being right. And so then y'all get into a back and forth debate called a conversation that's one trying to convince the other one but to their point of view. Does that make sense? Yeah.
It's pointless.
Yeah, but it takes a while to learn it. And intellectually, you can come to the realization that it's pointless, but find yourself in one of those conversations before you know it, where you go unconscious and all of a sudden you're doing the very thing you said you weren't going to do. I don't know about you, but I've done that in my life. I've done something that I said I wasn't going to do. Did anybody else here ever did that? And if you told me you haven't, I'll just think you're lying. Okay, and that's just it. Because we're not different. We just look like we're different, right? So the Course then says, so when you're not willing to change on the inside, I'm going to give you the Earl Purdy version. That you are not yet at a point in which you're going to change on the inside, then the plan is going to sometimes call for changes in the external circumstances in your life. So if you want to shift on the inside, then you're going to have changes on the outside. If you don't change on the inside, your life is going to start to be even more full of changes than ever on the outside. Now, so what do you do right now? Your life is in a state of a lot of change and transition, and some people would even say turmoil. Then what do you do if there's a lot of external changes happening because you haven't done the internal shift yet voluntarily? So the plan is going to come from changes in your external situations. That might be your mind, that might be your job, that might be your mate, that might be where you live, that might be, you're going to start to have a lot of changes in your outer world. So what is it, how are you supposed to look at these changes? How are you supposed to look at all these changes you're going through right now? Well, the way you're supposed to look at all these changes you're going through right now is that these changes are helpful. So whatever you're going through in your life right now, whatever is frightening you or causing you any concern or worry or trepidation, or anything that's causing you joy and peace and love, then what I want you to do, what the Course wants you to do, is to tell yourself these changes are always helpful. It didn't say these changes are helpful. It said every change that you're going through right now is always helpful. So everything that you're going through right now is helpful. There's somebody out there that really needs to hear me say that to you, and you know who you are. You're really dealing with some stuff right now, and you're dealing with big changes in your life right now. Some of it's frightening you or someone you love. Okay, listen to me. I'm talking to you. That change that you're going through is helpful. You may not know it's helpful, but all the changes that that change in that relationship is helpful. The change that you're going through in that situation is helpful. Okay, the breakup you just had, it's helpful. The job you just got laid off from, that was helpful. The job you just lost, that was helpful. Everything you're going through now is helpful, and it will always be helpful. Listen to me, Course in Miracles students and people in the audience. Every change that you're going through right now is helping you. If you're broke, it's helpful. If you're rich, it's helpful. If you think whatever size your body is or not, it's helpful. Whatever your sexual orientation is, it's helpful. Whatever your level of education is, it's helpful. Every single solitary thing that's happening to you in any part of your life, Earl, is helpful. It's helping you. It's helping you. It's helping you. It's helpful. See, if you don't remember anything else that I said today, and you walk out with that, I'll feel satisfied. You know that? I'm not going to give you a whole lot of stuff to forget.
Thank you.
I just think that's cool. Yeah, because I could give you a whole lot. I could just be rushing along and go through several pages. That'd just be more to forget. It'd be better to walk away with one thought. What is that one thought?
Everything is helpful.
Everything is helpful. Everything is helpful. Everything is helpful.
At all times.
At all times. Now, the thing that's the trip is that you're not going to always see it that way, and you're not going to always feel it that way. Is that right? You're not going to always feel like the thing that you're going through is helping you, but that nonetheless does not change that it's helping you. The truth is not affected by your opinion. The truth is not affected by your belief. The Course says, do you understand what I'm telling you, Earl? It doesn't matter how you're reacting to any of the ideas that you're reading in this book. Just use them. If you use them, you'll see that they work. But the truth of it has nothing to do with how you feel about it. It's not like gravity won't be here today because you're not in the mood for it. But that's the way you all approach it. That's when the voice talks to me after 40 years. It just has a conversation with me, and I cuss it out sometimes, because it doesn't care. It loves me anyway. See, once you know you're going to be loved no matter what, then you start being more honest than you've ever been, because you know you have nothing to lose. If I know I can't lose your love, why would I feel like I couldn't communicate with you about anything? I'm only going to be afraid to communicate with the person I think I can lose. This book is so deep. Okay, then it says, and I work out of the book because I want people to use the book. That's because the book will be with you all the time. I can't. So the Course says, next thing that you're going to go through is you're going to go through a period of sorting out, because you're not going to go to the next stage until you really get that everything you're going through is helpful. You're not going to go to the next stage of developing trust. You're not going to go to the next stage of developing trust unless you get to the point that you see the things that you're going through right now as helping you. And when you have learned that everything that you are going through and everybody in your life, no matter what role they seem to be playing, no matter what your perceptions are, it's helping you. He says, once you get that the changes are helpful, then you're going to go to what the Course calls the second stage. Okay, so what is the second stage of developing trust? The first stage is what? See, I ask myself those questions so that I won't go unconscious. So the first stage is you're going to go through a period of undoing. It's going to look like things are going to be taken away from you, but they're not really being taken away from you. You don't need them anymore, and you don't value it anymore, and so it's going to leave your life. So when everything starts to change, in case you don't want to change on the inside, let me give you an example of changing on the inside. Changing on the inside is me saying, I'm going to take responsibility for my experience, and that what I'm feeling is coming from me, and that none of you all have the power to make me feel anything. So you can't hurt me, and you can't make me happy. That's going to come from how I see what you're doing and how I look at you. So I'm going to take responsibility, and I'm going to make the decision to be more loving and harmless. Okay, that's me making a change on the inside. So I don't necessarily need a lot of things to happen to me to get me to the point that I become more compassionate and more loving. Y'all follow what I'm saying? I'm voluntarily saying I want to become more compassionate and loving and let go of the blocks. So I don't have to have life give me all these challenging circumstances so I'll get to the point that I'll change my ways. I don't need to hit rock bottom before I turn around and go, there must be a better way. But there's some people that they set it up where they won't change on the inside, so it looks like they're having a hard life. It's not that life has to be hard for them. It's that they haven't made an internal shift yet. And so they're having life come at them with things that'll get them to the point that they know. Like, for instance, if you got an issue with jealousy, and it keeps coming up in every relationship, you have, okay, well, once you get to the point that you decide it's your jealousy and you want to see it another way and you want to learn how to release it and you're sincere about that, then you start attracting people who don't just trigger your jealousy. These will be people that help you release it. Because you've already decided to make the inner shift. So you don't no longer need to have a horrible person to get you to the point that you'll love yourself more. Some people, they don't love themselves until they suffer. Because unfortunately, suffering is how most human beings learn. That's how they get to the point that they'll do it differently. It doesn't have to be that way. The Course in Miracles says that over and over again. Like he said, it's going to be a lesson in undoing. But he says, what did he just say right after? It doesn't have to be painful, but you'll probably experience it that way. He said it right there in the book. The changes you go through don't have to be painful. And then I went, why am I having to experience the pain? Then the boy said, well, because you don't listen. I'm telling you exactly what to do. I'm even doing it in the form of a book called The Course in Miracles. I'm giving you very specific instructions about how to undo fear so that you can have totally loving, peaceful experience of yourself. I'm telling you exactly what to do. But there's a part of you that taught itself, and so it wants to be in charge, and it wants to make up what everything is. So you're going to keep giving yourself these external challenges that get you to the point one day that you're going to turn within and turn to me, your higher self. And that's what you see all your brothers and sisters doing. They're all in their own way setting up situations that's going to get them to come to God, come to love, come to truth. That's what everybody's doing. Some people do it in a painful way. But if you're going to develop trust, you have to start saying everything that's happening in your life right now is for your benefit. I'm giving you an instruction. You don't have to do it. It's perfectly okay, but I'm going to give you the instruction. Then it says, once you get that, what that divorce was helpful, I'm using examples, because you can use the truth in anything, not just thoughts, but anything. So the Course says when you get to the point that you see that is helpful, then you go to the next stage. And what is the next stage that you're going to go through? See, it tells us exactly what's going to happen to us. He said, well, the next stage, the teacher of God, and the Course says a teacher, those of you with the book, remember the Course says a teacher is a demonstrator. What? A teacher is what? A demonstrator. A teacher of love is somebody that's demonstrating it. A teacher of anything is, the teacher that's a ballet dancer at a certain point is probably a beautiful, wonderful ballet dancer. A teacher is a model. And that's what the Lord says. It's what? Yeah, you have to model this thought, Earl. You got to be a living model of it. So that's what I'm trying to do. It's very protective because people are generally really, really attracted that much to kind people. They usually give all the attention to the people that's giving them a problem. Don't you, right? A person tends to give much more attention to one relationship they have that's full of conflict, and then ignore all the other relationships that they have that are totally peaceful. And they give the person who gives them the most conflict the most attention. And we're actually programmed almost to be that way. And so the Course is telling me over and over again, then even that relationship that you're going through, that relationship, whatever happened to it, is helpful. So when you get to the point that you can say the changes that you're going through are helpful, then I'm going to take you to the next stage. And so the teacher of God, which is a demonstrator of love, you're going to have to go through a period of sorting out. What are you going to go through after you realize all changes are helpful? You're going to go through a period of sorting out. And it says, guess what? This is always somewhat difficult. Twice it said, you don't have to go through pain, but you probably will. Then it says you're going to go through sorting out, and it's always somewhat difficult. Then you go, well, why is it difficult? Why is the sorting out difficult? Well, the Course says, well, having learned that the changes in your life are always helpful, having finally accepted that every change that you've gone through is helpful, now you've got to decide everything on the basis of whether or not this thing is helpful to me or is hampering me. You sort out, you go, are you helping me? Am I using you to help myself, or am I using you to delay myself? Am I using you for peace? Am I using you for conflict? You see what I'm saying? You're going to have to sort out. You're going to have to, it's difficult for some people. He says it's difficult for some people to sort things out because they've got to start judging things on, is this helping me? The Course in Miracles says that we use our special love relationships as the absolute chief weapon. He says that we use to keep ourselves from being happy. And so what? He said, yeah, the number one thing that human beings use in order to stay miserable is their special love relationships. Because that's where they manufacture the most guilt and anger. I went, okay, stop. Okay. So you mean everything I've gone through, you mean that divorce that I went through was helpful? Yes. You mean experiencing COVID and then watching my lab class go up in smoke and watch everything change? That was helpful. See, I went through a lot during the last 3 years. And so I had to apply every single thing that this book is saying to my experience in order to feel peace, because I knew if I stayed in conflict, I couldn't hear the voice of the Holy Spirit, that I couldn't hear my guidance. I couldn't hear my way out if I'm angry and depressed and sad. So therefore, I had to be reminded that I'm sustained by the love of God and that I'll be taken care of and sustained no matter what goes on the outside. And I don't hear people around me talking that way a whole lot. So I have to be proactive about hearing the truth. But you know what I'm saying? People be much more willing to tell me about conspiracy theories than how we need to love each other. Yeah. And even if all the conspiracies are true, the only thing that's going to work is love. There's nothing you're going to come up with that you're going to tell me the problem is that I'm not going to say to you the answer is love. And as long as you think there's some other answer than love, then you're going to be experiencing other things other than love. I'll say that again. As long as you believe that there's anything but love that's valuable, you're going to be experiencing everything but love. Fear, anger, lack, loneliness, upset. That's what this book says, stuff like that. So right now in my life, I'm sorting out everything and everybody in it. You're being sorted. That's what I'm doing. I'm looking at everything I do, the people I'm around, where I am, everything about my life is in change and flux. And so I'm telling myself all the changes that I'm going through right now is helpful. And since I have accepted that more than ever that is helpful, then I found that I was able to go to the next stage, which he says, well, now it's time for you to start sorting out. So now I'm sorting out. And I'm also taking the sorting out to my belief systems. Also, what thoughts do I have that help me, and what thoughts do I have that hamper me? What thoughts do you have that move you forward? What thoughts do you have that move you backwards? Sometimes thoughts come in the form of bodies and people. Thoughts, the people in your life are reflections of your thought. The people in your life are a reflection of your thought. The people in your life are a reflection of your thought. Thoughts are people are the same thing. We are thoughts. We are only ideas. When of Course in Miracles says, I'm not to break this to you, but Earl, God is an idea. Love is an idea. What? Say God is an idea, and you are an idea. You're a thought. So if you're an idea, you can give yourself without ever losing anything. Because an idea just creates more of itself. So I see you as ideas in bodies. What? You are ideas in bodies. And I deal with you as if my ideas about you are true. So who are the people in your life that you find helpful, and who are the people in your life that could be a hamper? That's who are the people in my life that I give myself peace through, and who are the people in my life that I give myself upset through? And question answered. Then it says, you're going to find that many, if not most of the things that you valued before are going to hinder your ability to transfer what you learned. So if I have learned in the past that I'm a victim of everything, and that I'm black in America, so things got to be messed up for me all the time, which I hear the mind say back to me a lot, then if I'm going to find that believing that what I valued before would hinder my ability to transfer this new stuff I'm learning to new situations. If I believe I'm a victim, it becomes harder for me to use the idea that I'm responsible and I'm the creator in new situations. So the first thing you become aware of is that you realize most of the stuff that you learn is not going to help you. He says what you're going to realize is that everything you learn from the world about separation, fear, guilt, jealousy, all that stuff, he says the first thing you're going to realize is that most of the conversations you're hearing from most of the people around you won't help you. He says it's going to hinder your ability to use this new thought in every situation if I'm still trying to use my old thoughts. You hear what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about? Okay. So what is the next thing it says? You won't use these ideas in every situation because there'll be some situations that you'll feel like you're going to lose if you use these ideas. For instance, if the idea says love is freedom and you want to go to lunch with your old boyfriend and I don't want you to go, well then I should be extending the truth to you, which is freedom, right? But there are going to be situations that I don't want to generalize that lesson and use it because I think I might lose. Does it make sense? I'm supposed to be freeing everybody, but I'm not going to free my girlfriend because if I practice that freedom stuff on her, she go out to lunch with her old boyfriend and she might want to be with him instead of me. So I'm not going to use the truth in every situation. I'm going to pick and choose the situations that I want to use the truth in, depending on whether or not I think I'm going to lose if I do it. If the Course says giving is how you receive, but you're stingy, then you're going to believe that you would lose by using that idea. That if you gave, you were going to lose. So the Course is saying you're going to realize that because you're valuing something that's not valuable, which is being tight, and not giving, he says that you won't use the truth in every situation. So I already know that you all and I am not going to use the truth in every situation yet because we're learning. So I don't have an unrealistic expectation of any of you all that you would be honest all the time with me. Even if you tell me you would be, I'm going to make it okay for you not to be. So that's not saying that you're not trustworthy. It's just saying I'm going to cover my butt if you're not trustworthy. Rather than spending all my time trying to figure out whether you're going to be trustworthy, I'll be trustworthy. And then if I'm trustworthy, then I'm going to attract what I am. And trustworthy people will be drawn to me, and I'll be surrounded by trustworthy people. See, the key is to be what you want to have. Do you know the key to having anything is being it? See, I have kind, loving people in my life because I'm being one. Sometimes I do it perfectly. Sometimes I don't do it well at all because I'm a learner. That's why I teach. Because it's the only freaking way I'm going to ever hear some consistent truth in this world is to make sure I'm the one that's giving it to myself. Then I don't have to depend on nobody else saying nothing to me about the truth. Because I am. Then I become it. Then I draw the people to me who appreciate it. And we appreciate each other's uniqueness because we're not trying to make the other one be like the other one. You're not trying to get anybody to be like you. You loving the differences because you know that this is all the different ways love can come to you and the truth can come to you. So you're not trying to change anybody because you're no longer saying anybody else is responsible for your happiness. If I don't see you as responsible for my happiness, there's no need for me to be trying to figure out how to change you into what I think I want. Don't forget to listen and watch these classes at least 4 times. At least 4 times. 4 is the number of the foundation building. So you're not going to remember what I've said much after I've said it, unless you keep repeating it to yourself in some form or another. So the Course in Miracles says there's no way you're going to pull off the learning of anything without giving it some attention and study. Attention and study. This class can be helpful, and I hope it is. Videos, workshops, other teachers, but you have to give the Course in Miracles or whatever your spiritual path is, listen to me now, you have to give it some attention and study and then apply it. Just hearing about it isn't enough. And guess what else? If you are on a path, a spiritual path, that it doesn't excite you to think about doing it, it's probably the wrong spiritual path for you. I get excited about the Course in Miracles. It turns me on. It gives me spiritual orgasms. It's the most awesome thing I've ever experienced in my life in terms of the states of mind and the blessings and the benefits that have come to me. I get excited about it. I don't ever go, oh, the Course in Miracles. Okay, let me see if I can make myself do it. That might not be your path. If your path can't hold your attention for 5 minutes, it might not be your path. But you're innocent. And I'm talking to the people out there who are listening to me and hanging on every word that Spirit is saying through me. That's who I'm talking to. The ones that really want to hear it. And I always invite people, if I'm not a teacher that you're excited to listen to or watch, or you feel benefit you in some way, then please stop watching me. That'll clear the energy for me. And it gives me even more people who appreciate me and what comes through me than having a lot of people who are not enthusiastic about doing on this journey with me. Because you know what I'm doing? I'm sorting out the people who appreciate me, and I appreciate from the people who don't. And guess what? I equally wish the best for both groups. Absolutely. I want to be around, if I want to be around exciting people, I have to be exciting myself. boring people have a tendency to be on the lookout for the most exciting friends and partners. And boring just means you haven't discovered that creativity that you are love, that you are spirit. A bored person is a person who don't know they're the holy child of God. So the Course is saying, then you're going to be tempted not to apply the truth to everything because it takes great learning. Takes what? He says it takes great learning to understand. To understand what? It takes great learning to understand that all things, all events, all the encounters in your life, all the circumstances in your life are helpful. It takes great learning to understand that. You have to be an incredible learner to understand that every event, every encounter, every circumstance is helpful. And it's only to the extent that you see it as helpful. It's only to the extent that you see it as helpful that you should see it as real. So basically, what did the Course just say? He says, don't see anything in your life as being real unless you see it as helpful. So a real relationship is a helpful relationship. A real person is a helpful person. So the Course says something radical. If I don't see you as helpful, then I am to understand you not real for me. That if I want to separate the real people in my life from the unreal people, then it would be me separating, me focusing in on whatever is helpful. That's how real it is, because value can apply to nothing else. The Course in Miracles says the only thing that's valuable is what's helpful. The only thing that's valuable is what's helpful. If it's not helpful, it's not valuable. If that person isn't helpful, they're not valuable. If you're not helpful, you're not expressing your value. Whatever isn't helping you isn't valuable in your life. Whoever isn't helping you isn't valuable in your life. Yes, but, resistance, yes, but. I don't care about your resistance. I really don't. It doesn't have any, it's not going to change the words on this page. I'm going to still say the words that's on this page no matter what, Earl. Notice I always say Earl because I know that I'm talking to myself. I don't want to debate and analyze A Course in Miracles anymore. I want to be able to use it in my everyday life. Every paragraph that I'm reading, I'm blessed to have you to help me do it. So now do you know what's valuable in your life? What's valuable in your life is whatever it is you're seeing is helping you. And whatever you don't see is helping you, it's not real. It's not valuable. And whoever you are not being helpful to, by the way, you're not being valuable to them. So don't leave you out. How do I know when I'm not being helpful? Earl, how do I know when I'm not being helpful? When you're not extending any kind of love, sanity, peace, or truth. If you're not extending love, sanity, peace, and truth, you're not very helpful. What's the advantage of saying to somebody, that don't sound very nice and new agey? Well, the truth is, if you say that that person isn't real, your perception of that person isn't real, your mind has been already trained not to give its attention to what's not real. So as soon as you say that relationship isn't real when it's really not real, it's easier to be for you to let it go. It's hard to let go of something that you think is real. It's easy to let go of something you really get is unreal. And an unreal relationship is any relationship you with anybody that doesn't appreciate you. No matter how much money they got, no matter how fine and hot they are. If they don't see you as the innocent, beautiful soul that you are, and if they're not there to remind you of how beautiful you are, they are valueless. They have no value. So you got to sort them out. And that's what I'm going to complete on right now. It's time for you to sort them out. It's time for you to sort it out. It's time for you to see who's valuable, what's valuable in your experience, and who and what is not. And how can you make that distinction? Who do you see as helping you, and who do you see as delaying you? Who's the person that's delaying you? What's the situation that's delaying you? The situation you're sad, afraid, and unhappy in. That's your perception of delay. The Course in Miracles teaches that it's so simple that it's hard for people to understand because it talks about how simplicity is very difficult for twisted minds. So the simpler you make it, the harder it is for people to listen to it. But guess what? There's a lot of people that's enthusiastic and on the edge of their seat and so glad to hear what they're hearing me say right now, that bells are going off and it just answers some situations that they're in right now. I'm especially teaching you. And I know you're out there because I feel enthusiastic. So, now I'm gonna do a real quick recap in a second. I'm a full-time teacher of A Course in Miracles. If you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, that would be wonderful. I'm going to give you an opportunity to do that if you like. And it's not charity. Charity, I want you to give me charity. Do you know what the Course says charity is? It says seeing a person that's having advanced far along where they seem to be in time right now. So if you see me as more loving than I am expressing right now, you're having charity. You're practicing charity. Charity is me seeing more in you than you see in yourself. He says that's what charity is. Me recognizing that you're a totally loving, innocent being, and you deserve that, even when you don't think you deserve it. So if you like to do that, make a financial expression of appreciation, you can use Venmo, Zelle, PayPal, the Cash App. You can go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com, P-U-R-D-Y, earlpurdy.com. All you need is my email address, earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. That's the email address, earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. I'm available for one-on-one coaching sessions, counseling sessions, showing you exactly how to use this and all the things, the Course in Miracles and all the things that I've studied. And we would direct that to whatever your issue is or your circumstance is or whatever you like to see different. Because there's nothing you can present me with that I can't give you the solution to it from a Course in Miracles perspective and how you would do it. That's not a bold statement because I have the book. And I familiarized myself with it for decades and worked with literally hundreds and hundreds of people. So if you like to bring that level of experience into a situation or circumstance in your life that you're ready to see differently, then go to my website. It's called a clarity session. It's a clarity session. It will give you more details on my website, and you can self-book an appointment with me right from the website. So you can do it right there. You do not have a problem that there's not an answer to and another way to look at it and a way that you could be shown how to have more peace about it. You're not that special. Of course, you're not that special. What do you mean? So, well, you think you actually have a problem that God couldn't solve. Do you really think you're that special? I went, wow, that's deep. You think your stuff is that bad, huh? The infinite intelligence of the universe can't handle your problem. That sounds real special. That sounds really special. But if you're trying to fool yourself, if you're trying to believe you're not the child of God, if you're trying to forget you are spirit, if you just want to think you are a body that's born, lives a few years, and die, then you got to try to prove to yourself you are a body, right? So how could you prove to yourself you are a body when you're trying to fool yourself that you're not spirit? This is how you do it. This is how you do it. You forget that you make the decision to give yourself some type of experience that would make you doubt yourself. See, you make a decision to prove that the truth isn't true, that what you're studying isn't true, that you're innocent and powerful isn't true, the Course says. And it's because it's threatening, because your whole world is based on the ideas of being a victim or something being done to you from the outside. So when you read a book and you hear a teaching that's telling you you're the creator, you're responsible, so therefore you can change it, he says, well, the part of you that doesn't want to believe that, the part of you that's your old programming, it's going to do everything possible to sabotage you, to make you think that you don't deserve what you're trying to do or that it's not going to work. So when you say I'm finally ready to have that loving relationship I've always wanted to have, and I've really changed my mind and I deserve it, you got to watch, because the first person that show up might be the worst one you've ever went out with. To try to prove to you that you are crazy to even think you could have a different kind of man. You follow what I'm saying? Because my old self didn't believe that I deserved it. So now I've changed my mind and believe I deserve love. Well, the part of me that's been used to being in charge, that's full of distrust and anger, it's going to try to create a relationship that's so bad, maybe, that I'll not even keep trying to move in this direction. So when you're ready to make a radical shift, don't expect that at the very beginning that that's where it's going to go easy. That's the hardest part, is the beginning, because that's when you're most likely to sabotage yourself trying to prove that you were right about the way you used to look at things. Does that make sense to everybody? Mm-hmm. And the book tells you that. I'm going to tell you what you're going to go through when you get ready to try to change, and I'm also going to show you how you could possibly have it done for you, but you haven't developed that willingness to listen to spirit yet, but you could really have everything in your life taken care of for you. But you're so addicted to your plan, the way you think it should be, that you're not allowing yourself to hear the way that would give it to you easily. And then I give spirit the finger. Go about my business. So Sundays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, I do Course in Miracles here at 1555 Race in Denver, Colorado. And also it's still online. And then on Thursday nights, I do what I call hardcore Course in Miracles. And that's especially for people who are studying the Course in Miracles and reading the Course in Miracles and doing the workbook lessons and want help and want to take it at a deeper level. So that's Thursday. I call it hardcore Course in Miracles. And I'm excited about you. I'm really excited about you. I want you to take a breath right now. And also, I want you to know that all of my classes, I upload them to YouTube. So I got hundreds and hundreds of classes on YouTube and also on my website.
It sounds like you'd be with us all the time.
It's available. I'm only here to be truly helpful. You know what I'm saying, man? The only reason why I'm in the world is to be a messenger. And I didn't even have to write the message that I deliver. So that's why I don't take it personally about how people react to me or the Course in Miracles. You know, does the mailman get upset about the way you react to your bill? I mean, no. It's okay. Nobody has to believe a thing I say. That's how I stay happy as a teacher. I don't deserve to be in front of the room if I believe everybody's got to agree with me and do what I think. Because it doesn't matter. That's what Spirit found to taught me. It doesn't matter. As long as I accept what I'm reading in this book for myself and use it, it can't get better than that for me. Did you see what I'm saying? I don't care what happened with you all, and I hope the best happened with you. Don't get me wrong. But it still doesn't have anything to do with my ability to apply this to me. And what's cool about it is there's not a time you apply what the Course in Miracles teaches or the truth teaches, and you really do it, that you don't get the result. So since you get the result because you actually did it, then it makes you want to do it more. Right? And then you do it more, and then you get more of a reflection back. So it builds on itself. But the thing that can be frustrated is when you're around your brothers and sisters who don't believe it, they're suffering needlessly, and they're being told how to get out of the suffering, but they're choosing not to do it because they don't see themselves as helpful and valuable to themselves. Because that word value has got to apply to you too, in the way you feel about yourself. So if I value me, it doesn't matter if anybody else does. But here's the kicker. The minute you start valuing you, you'll start attracting people who value you. So you get just the opposite. Like when you don't need all the praise and accolades, that's when it's there. And then you're grateful to the people who are willing to say it to you. Because now you know when they're telling you the truth. Like if somebody says something loving to me, I usually respond, thank you for your correct perception. Because you're not seeing me correctly until you're seeing me with love. I'm not seeing you correctly until I'm seeing you with love. So when someone says something kind to me, I'm not being egotistical when I say that's the correct perception. I love myself and recognize the truth enough to know when somebody's really seeing me correctly. That's who I want to respond to. That's who I want to be my friend. That's who I want to go out with. I want to go out with people who recognize my value and they recognize mine. And then we're helpful, and then because we're helpful, we'll develop trust. So that's part of the developing trust. Okay, Spirit, I hear you. So that's on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook. That's where these live presentations are every Thursday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time and 1 o'clock p.m. on Sunday. And like I said, shoot an email out to me if you want to be on my contact list so I can let you know about these next level classes that I'm going to be doing. It's going to be course uncensored. So if you're delicate, don't sign up.
Amen.
If you're delicate and a word will bring you to your knees that you call a cuss word, I am not your teacher for that particular expression. Not that I'm going in there to say things outrageous. It's not like I got a script. I just don't want to be censored. See the difference? It's not like I'm coming in there to hit you with one crazy word after another or cuss. No, I'm just saying I would like to be in an environment as a teacher where I am with students who are my students and I'm their teacher and they're my teacher and they love it the way I give it and the way that I do it. And so we move really fast because I'm not trying to get anybody to trust me or to agree with me because they already see it that way. They just want to take advantage of a man who's been obsessed with A Course in Miracles for 4 decades. They kind of got sense enough to think that maybe it might be something you might be able to tell me that'll save me some time. But I am not teaching to debate. Wow. So take a breath. One time. Here we go. Then I'm going to let you run out of here. So listen to this. And take these 2 thoughts with you. Take these 2 thoughts. These 2 thoughts. All the changes are helpful. All changes are helpful. Changes are always helpful. Changes are always helpful. The change that you're going through is helpful. The change that you're going through, the change that you're going through, the change that you're going through, the change that you're going through is helpful. The change that you're having right now is helpful. That change that you're going through right now is helpful. You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what that change is helpful. That change in that situation is helpful. The change you're experiencing in this situation is helpful. The changes that you're experiencing that's helpful. Helpful. Okay, that's thought number 1. That's thought number 1. Now what is thought number 2? Only what's helpful is valuable. Only what's helpful is valuable. It's helpful if it's valuable. What's valuable is helpful. You got to sort out. You got to sort out. What do you have to sort out? Who's helpful in your life, in your perception, and who's hampering you in your life, in your perception? What thing over here is helping you? You can even make that a material thing. And what material thing that you have that's delaying you? You can do it emotionally. What emotions am I having that are helpful, and what emotions am I having that are hampering me? Is that grievance hampering me? Is that jealousy hampering me? Is that unforgiveness hampering me? Is that lack hampering me? Is that belief hampering me? Is that memory hampering me? Do you have memories that hamper you? Do you have memories that help you? Do you have memories that help you or memories that hamper you? Okay, thank you, mighty companions. Thank you for coming. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Those who found me helpful, I'm valuable to you. And you're valuable to me. I love you.
And everything's helpful.
All things are helpful.
Always, everywhere, all